Introduction. 6 months into my divorce, I woke up to a bright blue, sun-filled sky. The scent of coming rain filled the air. The weather matched my energy as my soul rejoiced with fresh hope. That night, just after putting my 11-year-old son to bed at 9 p.m., a knock on my door stripped me of my peace. "You've been served," the officer said. I looked at him and said, "What is this?" He explained it was a protective order filed against me for stalking. He sauntered down the sidewalk while I tried to absorb the confusion and fear that consumed me. I looked toward the moon and stars and cried out, "Is this ever going to end?" The stalking charges and protective order against me meant my kids and I were still not safe. Coming within 300 feet of my daughter could result in my arrest for a Class 1 misdemeanor, and I could spend a year in jail if I violated the order. Prior to this, I'd never even gotten a speeding ticket. The fight for custody of my kids became one of my lowest points, and the situation would get worse. Months later, everything changed when my attorney called. "Congratulations, you've got your kids back." When I tried to ask him a few questions and if I should go get my kids, he said, "Be the expletive parent and get your expletive kids." I decided to pick my daughter up after an athletic event at her high school. I had won a battle, but the war was far from over. Later that day, my mom, my identical twin sister, and I sat on a bleacher at the high school gym cheering my daughter's volleyball team. Movement in my peripheral vision made me turn my head. The particular group of people walking in signaled trouble. Trying to avoid it, I slipped out a side door into a hallway in hopes they hadn't seen me. Obviously, it didn't work. When I heard the sirens in the distance and the police showed up a few minutes later, I knew someone had reported me. I walked out to take responsibility and meet the situation head on. My mom and sister stood next to me, but a problem immediately presented itself. From the moment the police arrived, you could tell the bad cop from the good one. The short, stocky male spoke roughly and rudely. He looked at my sister. "Are you Nancy Meyer?" Nearly hysterical, she said. "No." He looked at me. "So, you're Ms. Meyer?" "Yes," I said. "You're being arrested for stalking and violation of a protective order," he said in an overly authoritative voice. He snapped the cuffs around my wrists. The female officer stepped into the chaos, acting firmly, but with respect and kindness. She guided me toward the squad car and dipped my head down and gently forced me inside. The parking lot was full of people there to watch the game. Onlookers gathered quickly. Parents of kids I'd coached. Friends. Humiliation and panic fought for control of my emotions. Then I remembered my back pocket. After several seconds of wriggling and squirming, I managed to get my cell phone in my hand. I shifted sideways and dialed a friend who knew my attorney and asked her to reach out to him. Desperate for help, I called a couple other friends. The police officer checked on me in the back of her car. She saw me talking on my cell while I held it awkwardly in my fingertips. "I've never seen anyone make phone calls with their hands cuffed behind their back before." I was not thrilled to be first in this category. The drive to the jail made me feel closed in and claustrophobic. There's nothing worse than knowing you are completely helpless, unable to free yourself, especially when you don't know where your kids are. By the time we arrived at the police station, the handcuffs were digging into my skin. Despite my discomfort, booking officers took my mugshot and fingerprinted me. I had a new understanding of why so many people scowl in their mugshots. I was taken to an adjoining room and placed on a bench to sit and wait. But I had no idea what I was waiting for. After a while, I was taken into a hearing area where a magistrate oversaw proceedings. He looked at me. "You sure have a bucket load of people here." He nodded toward the gaggle of family and friends there, showing support. It must have made an impact. The magistrate did something unheard of. He released me that night. A few hours later, I went home and dropped on my couch, feeling spent. But I wasn't alone. A sizable number of people showed up to sit with me. They surrounded me, literally and figuratively. Everyone wanted to know how they could help, and I was grateful for their concern. One friend tried to reduce my heartache with a little humor. "Did you make me a customized license plate?" I laughed and immediately broke down. I wondered, how can this be happening to me?
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.